Hi, today I'm going to tell you about passive voice, element of English grammar which is very vital and very used in English. Maybe your native language is like mine, so this is a language that we don't use passive voice too much, and sometimes these sentences sound pretty strange. But you have to remember that in English, passive voice is really important, and we also use it when we talk about people. So let's start with telling you about the situations in which we need to use the passive voice. Well, first of all, we use the passive voice in these situations when the activity is more important than the doer of this activity. So the person who does this activity or who did this activity. This is the first situation. The second situation is when telling about this activity is more important than telling about the agent, so the person who did this activity, or this agent, this doer, is obvious or not important or unknown. We only need to tell about the activity, nothing more. You have to remember that this passive voice is pretty indirect. So if you, for example, deal with customer matters and you want to lower the responsibility for some activities, a passive voice will be a good structure to give your customer bad news. For example, your order has been cancelled. You don't want to say that, for example, John cancelled this order, but it just got cancelled. You can use the passive voice in academic writing, and as a rule in academic writing it is more important to indicate the activity and what was done, I'm using passive voice in this moment, than who did it. Before I tell you about passive voice, how to form passive voice, we need to make sure that you know what it is. So I'll give you two sentences. The first one in active voice. I opened the window. So in my sentence, you see that there is an agent, doer of this activity, and then I tell about what happened. But now I'll give you a sentence in passive voice. A window was opened. So, as you can see here, I talk only about the activity, and this activity is the most important thing in my sentence. So this is what passive voice is about. You need to tell about the activity, not necessarily about the person who did this activity. Of course, you can include the agent, the doer of the activity, but only when this is very important information in the sentence, or this doer is not obvious and your recipient needs to know who did the activity. To do it, you need the word by. So, for example, the thief was caught by the police. If you want to say that an activity was done with the use of a tool, you can use a different word, which is with. For example, my hair was dyed with henna. Means that this henna was the tool which colored my hair. Maybe I will tell you about how to form a passive voice, but I'm pretty sure that you can get it from the examples I have already given you. The most important is the activity and also your verb phrase. The verb phrase includes 2 or 3 elements depending on the sentence and depending on the tense you are going to use. So in simple tenses, this is usually the verb be, which has the personal form or the proper form depending on your sentence, depending on the tense you are going to use, and another element which is the verb in third form or regular verb with ed. For example, a bridge is built. If you are going to use a continuous tense, then you need to include 3 elements in your verb phrase. So this is the verb be, which is given in the proper form for the tense and the person, it's very important. Being, which shows you the continuous form, and also the verb in the third form. So for example, a bridge is being built. The rest of the forms, depending on the tense and more important grammar structures, I'm showing you here on this page. I have to also tell you about another grammar structure which is included in the passive voice in English. This is the structure called have something done. So quite often you need to say that someone is doing something for you, an activity for you, but you don't want to say that someone is doing this, but this thing is being done for you. And this is the right structure for this. For example, I'm having this dress repaired. Means that someone is repairing this dress for me, but it's not important who is doing this. The most important is that this dress is being repaired. So in this situation, we can use the structure have something done. And it looks like this. The first element in your sentence is the person to whom the activity is being done. The next element is the have. And this have takes the form depending on a tense or depending on the grammar structure, depending on what form the grammar structure requires. The next element is this thing that is being done. And the last one is the verb in the third form. For example, I'm having my car cleaned. She is having her dress repaired. We had the swimming pool built.